Hi everyone, this is Dr. Hatami. In this short video, we're talking about some anatomical terms which we're using in human biology course, and also we are introducing you to the 11 organ system we have in our body. What are their organs and also what is their general function. Let's get started. The anatomical terms that we use in the human biology courses, anatomy courses, or the anatomical language. These are the words coming from Greek or Latin that we're going to use them a lot. So the let's start with the ventral or anterior. So ventral or anterior refers to the front. For example, the heart would be found in anterior of your body. The spine would be found on posterior of your body. So posterior and dorsal means toward the back. So front means anterior, ventral, and then back means posterior or dorsal. Your heart is anterior, your spine is posterior. And then we have the superior and the inferior. Superior means toward the head or above, and then inferior means toward the feet or below. For example, your head is superior to your neck. Your neck is inferior to your head. And then we also can use these two other terms, medial and lateral. So the part of the body is closer to the midline of the body is called medial. And the part is away from the midline is called lateral. For example, your heart is actually between your lungs, right? In your chest or thoracic cavity. We have our right lung and then the left lung. So we can say the heart is medial to the lungs, or the lungs are lateral to the heart, as the medial means closer to the midline and lateral means away from the midline. When we are going to referring to an appendage like your arm or leg, we're going to use these two terms when we refer a part or a structure closer to the trunk of the body, proximal, and or distal, which means away from the trunk. For example, your elbow is proximal to the wrist. What does it mean? It means that your elbow is closer to the trunk of the body in comparison with your wrist. Or we can say the wrist is distal to your elbow, as the wrist is away from the trunk. Okay, and now let's go over the organ system. As we mentioned, we have 11 organ system in our body, and now let's take a look at the definition of organ and organ system. So the organ system is composed of group of organs. They're working together to perform a function. But what is an organ? So the organ is actually composed of tissues that they are working together to perform a common function. For example, your brain is an organ, right? Your heart is an organ. Your skin is an organ. Your bone in your thigh or in your arm is an organ. Okay. So then we defined the 11 organ system in our body, which they all gonna be found in different places with different functions, with different organs. Now let's take a look at this 11 organ system, some of their primary organs and also their general function. Integumentary system. Integument means skin, and their primary organ is the skin. So what is the general function of integumentary system? So the first thing that we can remember is protection of our body. So integumentary system is going to protect our body, and also skin would be involved in maintaining our body temperature. And skin in exposure of the sun can synthesize the vitamin D. And also in integumentary system in our skin, we have the receptors, the structures that are so sensitive regarding the changes, so they can send the information to our brain. So the primary organ is the skin, and these are the functions that integumentary system can do in our body. Next, let's go over the cardiovascular system. Cardio means heart, vascular means blood. So the organs of the cardiovascular system, we have heart and blood vessels. So their job is important. So through the blood, they're gonna transport the oxygen, nutrients, waste, and also carbon dioxide. And so by this way, they can maintain the temperature, pH, and fluid. Then we have lymphatic and immune system. Lymphatic and immune system, the main organs would be like lymphatic vessels, lymph nodes, spleen. So their main job is to defend against infections, as there are too many white blood cells in our lymphatic system and too many immune cells. And then they also can provide fluid homeostasis. It means that they can return the excess fluid leaking from our blood vessels back to our cardiovascular system. And then digestive system, which is responsible to digest and break down the nutrients and absorb them, is composed of these organs, like we have oral cavity, esophagus, stomach, small intestine, large intestine, and also some glands like salivary glands producing saliva, liver producing by gallbladder, and also pancreas. Next, let's talk about the respiratory system, which the organs like lungs, trachea are part of the respiratory system, and their main job is to exchange the gases between air and blood, and also between air and blood. So we are going to refresh our blood from deoxygenated blood to the oxygenated blood. Urinary system, which their main organs can be kidney, urinary bladder, ureter, urethra. So the kidney is going to filter the blood and produce the urine, and then the rest of the organs is going to carry the urine from kidney to the urinary bladder, from urinary bladder to the outside of the body. We have a skeletal system, which their main organs are bones. So they're providing support, protection, helping in movement, storing the minerals, and also producing the blood cells. Muscular system is made up of muscles, like your hamstring muscle, your biceps muscle. So they are gonna be important in contraction and movement of our body. Nervous system, which is the controlling system composed of brain, spinal cord, nerves. So they're gonna receive information from our internal and external environment, and processing those information and sending signals to all parts of the body. Next, we have endocrine system. Endocrine system is composed of glands, which are producing hormones, like testes producing testosterone, ovaries producing progesterone, the adrenal gland, pancreas producing insulin, thymus, thyroid, pineal gland. So these are the endocrine gland producing hormones, and this is actually the next controlling system, which by hormone they can control everything in our body. And the next one is reproductive system. The reproductive system, in male and female, they have different organs. Like in the male reproductive system, the primary organ is testis, and then in female reproductive system, the primary organ is ovary. So they're producing the gametes or sex cell, sperm in male and oocyte or egg in female. And then they're also producing the hormones like testosterone and progesterone hormone. And right now, after you found their general function and the organs we have in our organ system, let's take a look at the body's cavities. So in our body, we have two cavities. One at the front of the body, which is called ventral body cavity, and one at the back of the body, which is called dorsal body cavity. So dorsal body cavity would be divided to the top part or the superior part, which is called cranial cavity, and then vertebral cavity. Cranial cavity is the cavity which contains brain, and vertebral cavity is the cavity contains spinal cord. So as you can see at this like brown color, here we have brain and here we have spinal cord in the vertebral cavity. And now let's take a look at the ventral cavity. Ventral cavity gonna be divided to the thoracic cavity and abdominal pelvic cavity. So as you can see here, there is a structure is called diaphragm, which is going to separate our thoracic cavity or chest cavity from the abdominal pelvic cavity. In the thoracic cavity, we can find heart, we can find lungs, esophagus is going to be found here. We have major blood vessels. In abdominal cavity, mainly we have the digestive organs like stomach, liver, pancreas, gallbladder, intestine, and also some of the other organs of the lymphatic system like spleen gonna be found here. And in pelvic cavity, mostly we have the reproductive organs like uterus, ovary gonna be found here in female, the prostate gland gonna be found here in male. Okay, and now let's review the body cavity, which we divided the body cavities to two main: ventral cavity at front, dorsal cavity at the back, and then we divided our ventral cavity to the thoracic cavity, abdominal cavity, and pelvic cavity, which the diaphragm is the major respiratory muscle which going to separate our thoracic cavity from abdominal pelvic cavity. Make sure you know which organs going to be found in each of these cavities. And for dorsal cavity, we said we have cranial cavity contains brain and vertebral canal contains the spinal cord. Thank you for watching.